Hello, a very warm welcome to the first episode of our Piano Basics series. Whether you happen to own a traditional acoustic piano, a digital model, or even just a small keyboard at home, this course is designed for you. Today, we are going to accomplish 3 specific things. To begin, I'll demonstrate how to sit properly at your instrument to ensure comfort. Next, you'll learn to navigate the keyboard, ensuring you always know exactly where your hands are positioned. And finally, by the end of this episode, you'll be able to play your very first musical melody. Let's go ahead and get started. Today, I'll be walking you through everything you need to know about this Yamaha CLP 845. It's a digital piano that comes equipped with its own built-in speakers. We also have a convenient headphone jack located right here, so we can plug in and practice at any time of the day, without worrying about bothering the neighbors. Additionally, there is a wide variety of different sound modules that we can choose from. We are going to focus our attention primarily on the quality of the piano sound. Before we even think about touching a single key, we must discuss proper posture. It might not sound like the most exciting thing in the world, but you really have to trust me. Poor posture is the #1 problem for most beginners. It causes unnecessary tension, persistent wrist pain, and in the long run, it can even discourage you from ever playing. So let's start by looking at your seat height. Go ahead and sit down on a stool or a chair right now. Go ahead and place both of your hands onto the computer keyboard. Now take a moment to look down at your forearms. They should be positioned in a way that is roughly parallel to the floor. You really don't want your wrists to be positioned higher than your elbows, and you certainly don't want them to be hanging significantly below that level either. If you happen to be sitting too high, your wrists are going to tire out quite quickly, and if you are sitting too low, you will find yourself hunching your shoulders up, which will tire them out as well. You should position yourself in such a way that your hands are able to rest quite comfortably right on top of the keyboard. The next important thing to consider is your overall distance from the keyboard. Don't sit too close. Or you won't have room for free hand movement. A good rule of thumb: when you place your hands on the keyboard, your elbows should be slightly in front of your body line, not behind it. Now, I would like us to focus our attention on your hands. Imagine that you are loosely holding a small apple in the center of your palm. Your fingers ought to be kept in a slightly rounded position. Your hand should naturally form a gentle, graceful arch. That is precisely how your hands should appear when they are resting comfortably on the keyboard. We press the keys using only the very tips of our fingers. You must avoid playing with flat fingers. Instead, keep them curved. Your wrists need to remain completely relaxed and perfectly level with your hand. They should not be dropping down, nor should they be raised up too high. Try to visualize it like a sturdy bridge, completely flat and very stable. Every single finger is assigned its own specific number, and this system is recognized as universal all across the entire world. We designate the thumb as finger number 1, the index finger is 2, the middle finger is 3, the ring finger is 4, and finally, the pinky is 5. And please take note, this exact same numbering system applies to both of your hands. Therefore, the left thumb is also considered a 1, the index is 2, and so on and so forth, continuing in that exact same order for every single finger on both of your hands without any exception whatsoever. Whenever you happen to see a small printed number sitting right next to a musical note on your sheet music, you will immediately know exactly which specific finger you are supposed to use. When you first take a look at a piano keyboard for the very first time, it might appear to be a little bit overwhelming to you. There are so many keys, both white and black, but there is actually a hidden, logical order to them that you will begin to see in just a moment. Take a close look at the black keys. You will notice that they are not spaced out quite as evenly as you might expect. They are arranged in a very specific alternating sequence of groups containing 2 black keys, followed by groups of 3 black keys. This exact same pattern continues to repeat itself across the entire length of the keyboard, from the far left side all the way to the right. Now let us take a moment to identify some specific musical notes. Simply focus your attention on any one of the groups that contains 2 black keys. If you take a look at those 2 black keys, the white key that sits just to the left of them is always, without any exception, C. If you look at every single group of 2 black keys, you will find that the note C is always positioned to the left. Nestled right in the middle of those 2 black keys, we have the note D, and just to the right side of that specific group, we find the note E. So we have the notes C, D, and E. These 3 notes effectively surround that entire group of 2 black keys. Now take a close look at that specific group of 3 black keys. The white key position to the left of this group is F. Moving along, the next is G, then we have A, and finally we arrive at B. So looking at the whole picture, we have 7 distinct white notes: C, D, E, F, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then we return to C. But this time it is played at a higher pitch. The entire keyboard is really just a constant rhythmic repetition of the same set of musical notes, stretching from the low, heavy sounds on the left up to the high, piercing notes on the right. Each of these repeating sequences, which consists of 7 distinct notes, is what we call an octave. It represents one single register. The lower registers produce a sound that is quite dark and deep, whereas the higher registers sound much brighter and significantly thinner. Always keep middle C in mind as a helpful, reliable reference point for your musical practice. Now let's bring together all the concepts and techniques we've covered today to see how they work together. Go ahead and position your right hand comfortably upon the keyboard in such a way that your thumb, which we call finger number 1, is resting on middle C. Your index finger, which is finger number 2, is placed on D. Your middle finger, number 3, is on E. Your ring finger, number 4, is on F. And your pinky finger, number 5, is resting on G. We are looking at the standard 5-finger position, which begins right here on the note of C. In this setup, every single finger is assigned to its own individual key. Your hand remains completely still. You will never have to hunt around for anything. It is just 5 fingers, 5 keys, and 5 notes: C, D, E, F, and J. There is absolutely nothing more to it than that, I promise. And now we've reached the best part of our lesson today. We are finally going to start learning our very first melody. The piece is the famous Ode to Joy by Ludwig van Beethoven. I'm sure you know this tune, even if you can't quite recall where you've heard it. This piece is the official anthem of the European Union, and it remains one of the most recognizable musical themes in the world. The entire opening melody consists of only 5 simple notes, which are exactly the same ones your fingers are currently resting upon. I'm going to provide you with the musical notes, which include the specific finger numbering right now. You really do not need to have any prior knowledge of formal notation. Just look at the numbers next to them and try to follow along with me at a slow pace. Now, let us go ahead and play through the very first musical phrase together. Now, if we were to translate the specific melody into musical notes, the sequence would be as follows: E, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, C, D, E, E, D, D. If you happen to be practicing this particular piece all by yourself, please remember that it is absolutely essential, though ensure that every single note you play rings out with perfect clarity and a very clean, crisp, and resonant tone. And now the second phrase. It's almost the same, only the ending changes. I would like you to try and connect both of these musical phrases. There is no need for you to rush through the piece or play it quickly. In fact, the slower you take it, the better the final result will be. What truly matters is that every single note sounds confident and you are consistently using the correct fingers. Let us take a moment to recap what we have accomplished today. First, you have learned how to sit properly at the piano. You know the correct height for your bench and the proper distance from the keyboard. You know to keep your feet on the floor and your hands relaxed. The second, you understand the ideal hand position, keeping your fingers rounded, your wrists loose, and playing precisely with your fingertips. Number 3, you know that every single finger is assigned a number from 1 to 5, and it works exactly the same way for both of your hands. Number 4, you have developed a solid understanding of the piano keyboard layout. The distinct groups of 2 and 3 black keys are there to help you navigate and find your way around the instrument. You are now familiar with the musical notes C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. And number 5, you successfully played your very first melody, Ode to Joy, using the 5-finger position. Make sure to spend some time practicing finding these notes all over the keyboard. I would like you to try and identify, for instance, the musical notes A, F, or E as rapidly as you possibly can without worrying about which register they are in. You should use the black keys as your primary landmarks. Spend some time practicing the Ode to Joy. Start off by playing it very slowly at first, and once you feel like your fingers have learned exactly where to go, all on their own, then you can begin to speed up just a little bit. In our next episode together, we are going to learn how to read music and understand rhythm, so you will finally discover what that stuff with all those dots is actually trying to tell you.